March is here, and the models are screaming that this is going to be one of the most active months we've seen in years. 25 states are staring down a back-to-back weather assault snowstorms, severe outbreaks, and flooding rain all rolled into one brutal month. We're talking 4 distinct storm systems, a potential blizzard signal in the long range, and a severe weather season that kicks off way earlier than normal. Let's break it all down. Today is Sunday, March 1st, 2026, and right now as we speak, winter is still very much in the picture across the northern tier. A clipper system is already rolling through the Dakotas, southern Minnesota, and into Wisconsin, dropping light to moderate snow as we head into the afternoon. Now, before we get into what's coming, let me tell you the forecast from earlier this week verified almost perfectly across the southeast. That severe weather event Thursday evening produced $1 to $2 size hail, wind gusts to 60 miles per hour, and 2 to 3 inches of rain across Mississippi, Alabama, and into the Carolinas. The SPC slight risk played out exactly where we said it would, and now we move forward to what's next. Because what's next is a lot. Hey, quick question before we dive in. Drop your city or state in the comments right now, and I'll break down exactly what your area is looking at for the month of March. I read every single comment, and if your city keeps popping up, that's the one I cover first, so let me know where you're at. All right, here's where we stand right this second. And the big story today is that brief window of warmth across the Midwest before everything changes. Temperatures are surging into the 50s and 60s from Kansas City to Chicago. St. Louis, Indianapolis, enjoy it, because this is literally the last gasp before the Arctic front crashes the party. That Arctic front pushes through tonight into Saturday, dropping temperatures dramatically and setting the stage for the first major storm event of March. Meanwhile, out west, that ridge is still locked in hard record warmth pushing into the 90s across Arizona and Southern California, with drought conditions deepening in the Central Valley. The NWS has elevated to locally critical fire weather conditions across the high plains today, so our friends in Colorado, Oklahoma, and the Texas Panhandle need to stay heads up. Now here's the jet stream story, and this is the key to understanding literally everything that's about to happen over the next 30 days. All winter long, the polar jet has been running the show. That's what brought us the blizzard of 2026 and all those nasty clipper systems hammering the northern and eastern U.S. But as we flip the calendar to March, the subtropical jet is taking over as the dominant player, and that fundamentally changes the weather game for the entire country. Instead of moisture grinding over land from the northeast Pacific, we're now pulling rich Gulf moisture in a much faster, more efficient pipeline straight into the lower 48. That means bigger storm systems, higher dew points, more instability, and if you know anything about severe weather, you already know where this is headed. Let's take it week by week, because the month of March 2026 has 4 very distinct chapters, and you're going to want to know which one hits your town the hardest. Week 1, March 1st through 8th, and we open with the storm system already setting up right now across the Midwest. The European model and the GFS are both showing a low developing in the Missouri Ozarks region by Sunday afternoon, with energy cranking up fast. For the snow side of this, 1 to 3 inches on average from the Dakotas through southern Minnesota, southern Wisconsin, and into lower Michigan through Monday morning. Minneapolis could see 2 to 3 inches before it wraps up. Detroit is looking at 1 to 2 inches, and Cleveland sits right in that tricky transition zone between snow and a wintry mix. Kansas City and St. Joseph. Missouri heads up, you're sitting on the northern edge of this system where a wintry mix of snow, sleet, and freezing drizzle is possible Sunday evening. That could make Monday morning commutes genuinely sketchy across Kansas City, St. Louis, and even Evansville. Indiana, give yourself extra time. Further south across Missouri, Springfield, Branson, Joplin, Jefferson City, you're in the rain zone, picking up 1 to 2 inches of much-needed rainfall through Monday. Out west, the Rockies and Sierras see beneficial mountain snow through Monday. Good news for skiers in Denver, Salt Lake, and the Tahoe Basin. Northern California, Oregon, and southern Idaho also grab a ½ inch to 1 inch of rain through Monday morning. The West Coast Ridge finally loosening its grip just a bit. But hold on, because a second system reloads late Monday into Tuesday, March 2nd and 3rd, and this one targets the Great Lakes and Northeast harder. The WPC is flagging renewed precipitation across the mid-Mississippi Valley as that second wave comes in mostly rain, but some wintry weather still possible in the Midwest and Northeast. Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, All of you are in play for a second round of wintry weather Tuesday into Wednesday, so don't pack the snow shovel away just yet. Now let's talk about what the models are really fired up about, and that's the severe weather setup building for the middle of the week, March 4th through 6th. The Storm Prediction Center already has a slight risk of severe weather on the board for Wednesday, March 4th, and that's 5 days out, which tells you forecasters are taking this seriously. The target zone stretches from the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex northward through Fort Smith, Arkansas, and just west of Little Rock, all hazards are on the table. We're talking damaging wind gusts, large hail, and yes, tornadoes cannot be ruled out across North Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas Wednesday afternoon and evening. What's fueling this, the subtropical jet, is cranking Gulf dew points northward way ahead of schedule, while Arctic air dives down the west coast. That clash creates explosive storm energy. By Thursday the 5th, that line of storms becomes more developed and more linear thunderstorms and severe weather possible from Texas all the way through the Midwest and up into the Ohio Valley. Friday the 6th, the original system shifts over the Ohio Valley and Mid-Atlantic. But here's the kicker: a brand new low develops near Nebraska with another cold front underneath it. That means round 2 of severe weather is possible for the southern plains as temperatures and humidity spike dramatically ahead of that second cold front. Flooding is going to be a real concern through the first week of March if you live anywhere from North Texas up through Missouri, the Ozarks, across the Ohio Valley, and into western Pennsylvania. Listen up. Multiple rounds of heavy rainfall stacking up in the same areas could produce 3 to 5 inches of rain, and that's a conservative estimate based on the model consensus right now. Some outlier models are showing even higher amounts. We're not going there yet. But the flooding risk is real, and it needs to be on your radar heading into early March. Major rivers to watch: the Ohio River, the Missouri River, and the Mississippi River corridor if you live near any of these. Keep an eye on flood watches through next week. And let's not forget, major airport hubs are going to feel this too: Dallas, St. Louis, Chicago O'Hare, Detroit, Cleveland, Pittsburgh. Columbus travel delays are likely midweek. For the Northeast, New York City, Boston, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Washington, D.C. You guys are looking at a warmer and wetter pattern rather than heavy snow for week 1. But I want to flag something for the Northeast. Don't count snow out entirely, because late in the week some cold air sneaks back in and there's a brief window for a wintry mix from D.C. to Philly. For the Southeast, Nashville, Atlanta, Charlotte, Knoxville, mostly rain through week 1. And that's actually welcome news given how dry it's been, especially in Florida. Florida remains critically dry right now. The northern part of the state missed out on last week's rain event, and fire danger stays elevated through at least the first week of March. Some weekend moisture is possible for Florida, but we are not talking drought-busting rain. It's a drop in the bucket compared to what the state actually needs. All right, let's talk week 2, March 9th through 15th, and this is where things get really interesting on the models. The pattern during week 2 features a western trough and an eastern ridge, and when you have that setup, the storm track runs right through the middle of the country. Heavy thunderstorms are expected again from North Texas through Missouri, the Ohio Valley, and this time pushing further north into Iowa, northern Illinois, Wisconsin, and Michigan. Here's the big headline for week 2, the central and southern Rockies, Colorado, Utah, Wyoming, New Mexico, Arizona finally start to see the beneficial snow they've been missing all winter. Denver, Colorado Springs, Salt Lake City, Albuquerque week 2 could finally deliver a real winter punch to the Mountain West after a season that's been honestly pretty underwhelming out there. That Rockies snow has a downstream effect too. It tracks across the upper Midwest and southern Canada, keeping the northern states active through the middle of March. Temperatures during week 2 flip to below normal in the west and above normal in the east. That contrast is the fuel for the storm track we're talking about. By around March 10th, models are showing a strong low-pressure system developing with a very well-defined cold front, warm front dynamic that could really explode storm activity. The European model is particularly aggressive here, showing what could be the worst severe weather frame of the entire model run around March 10th to 11th, with a very rich area of thunderstorms. I want to be straight with you, that's beyond 10 days out, so we take it with a grain of salt. But the pattern supporting that kind of setup is absolutely there and worth watching closely. Here's something I want to flag, specifically Kansas City, St. Louis, Memphis, Louisville, Cincinnati. You guys are in what I'm calling the repeat strike zone for week 2. If you've gotten hammered already in week 1, There's a real possibility of more heavy rain coming at you again in Week 2. That's where the flooding risk really starts to compound. Week 3. March 15th through 23rd, and the pattern shifts again as that eastern ridge starts to break down and lose its grip. Rainfall opportunities extend further east during Week 3. The Ohio River Valley, Tennessee Valley, and Mid-Atlantic all get in on the action. The southeast finally sees some beneficial rainfall during Week 3. Atlanta, Charlotte, Raleigh, Richmond. Some of that drought relief may finally arrive. Out west, Week 3 gets really active. California, Oregon, and Washington start seeing increased storm activity as the West Coast Ridge fully collapses. The Sierras, Cascades, and Rockies could see their best snowfall totals of the entire season during Weeks 2 and 3 combined. This is huge news for the snowpack out west. Some of that mountain snow transfers downstream into the upper Midwest across the Great Lakes and parts of the Northeast, so snow is definitely not done for those areas. Cold air shots continue to push into the plains and upper Midwest during Week 3. Minneapolis, Fargo, Bismarck, Duluth. It's not spring yet, not even close. Now, Week 4. March 24th through 31st, and I want to talk about something the models have been consistently flagging, because this is a big deal. There is a notable and consistent signal across multiple models for a significant snowstorm somewhere in the northern U.S. during the last week of March. The target zone is broad right now: Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Montana, Wyoming, the Dakotas, but the signal keeps showing up run after run, and that means something. As the eastern ridge breaks down even further in Week 4, colder air pushes further south from Canada, and that's what could juice a legitimate late March snowstorm. If that scenario plays out, we could be looking at a blizzard-type setup for the Central Rockies into the northern plains and upper Midwest, but we'll track it closely as we get closer. That's the scenario that has forecasters keeping an extra eye on the long range, because a powerful late March snowstorm hitting after what's already been a brutal winter would be a real gut punch. Now let's zoom out and look at the big picture for the entire month of March total precipitation. And this is honestly pretty wild to look at. The belt from North Texas through Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and into western Pennsylvania, that entire corridor is staring at double-digit rainfall totals for the month. Portland, Oregon, and the western Oregon coast are also looking at double-digit rainfall amounts. The West Coast finally gets some of the moisture it desperately needs. On the snow side, the Cascades and Sierras look outstanding for March. Colorado and Utah as well. This could legitimately be the snowiest part of the entire season for the Mountain West. And then the upper Midwest gets its share too, with that late March snowstorm signal still lurking. Milwaukee, Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland all need to keep an eye on the back half of the month. Temperature-wise, Week 1. The cold air is mostly bottled up in Alaska and northwest Canada, so the lower 48 runs above normal with warm air out ahead of these systems. Week 2 flips to below normal in the west and above normal in the east. That temperature contrast is actually what generates all the severe weather energy we've been talking about. Week 3 sees cold air bleeding south from Alaska through the southern Canadian prairies, with shots of cold air pushing into the northern plains and upper Midwest. And by Week 4, that colder air seeps further south, which is what could lock in that late March snowstorm threat for the northern U.S. that we flagged earlier. So, here is your bottom line for March 2026, and I want you to screenshot this or write it down because this is the roadmap for the month. Week 1. Winter storm this weekend with 1 to 3 inches of snow from the Dakotas through the Midwest, followed by severe weather and flooding rain midweek from Texas through the Ohio Valley. Week 2. The severe weather threat goes up a notch. The Mountain West finally gets real snow, and a potential major severe outbreak sets up around March 10th to 11th. Week 3. Rainfall expands east into the Mid-Atlantic and Southeast. The West Coast gets extremely active, and cold air shots keep the northern states on edge. Week 4. A notable snowstorm signal for the northern U.S., whether it's Iowa, Wisconsin, the Dakotas, or Montana. This one is worth watching as March closes out. The bottom line on the bottom line, March 2026 is shaping up to be one of the most active months in recent memory, and this is not the month to let your guard down. Storm after storm, severe weather outbreak after outbreak, and a late-season snowstorm that could catch a lot of people off guard. Stay informed, stay prepared, stay ahead of it. Before I go, I really want to hear from you. Which city are you most worried about this month? And what kind of weather are you actually hoping for as March plays out? Drop it in the comments whether you're in Minneapolis hoping the snow finally stops, in Dallas bracing for tornado season, or in Denver praying for that snowpack to come back. Your comments literally shape what I cover next. The more a city shows up, the more dedicated coverage it gets. So speak up and let me know where you need the most help. Stay safe out there. Folks March is going to be a wild one, and I'll be right here breaking it down with you every single step of the way. Now let me get real specific on some of the major cities, because I know a lot of you want to know exactly what your hometown is looking at. Let's go city by city. Starting with Chicago. You guys are looking at 1 to 2 inches of snow Sunday, another round of wintry weather possible early Tuesday, and then a flip to rain with severe weather chances by midweek. Minneapolis. You're getting clipped hardest early with 2 to 3 inches this weekend. Wind chills dropping back to dangerously cold levels Saturday night, and more snow chances week 2 and week 3. Detroit and Cleveland, you're in that accumulating snow zone this weekend, 1 to 3 inches through Monday morning, with commute impacts likely early in the week. Pittsburgh and Buffalo sitting on the edge of the snow zone. You could see a coating to an inch. But your bigger story is that heavy rainfall set up midweek that could bring flooding to low-lying areas. New York City, Boston, and Philadelphia mostly on the warmer and wetter side through week 1. Light wintry mix briefly possible late week, but don't be building a snow fort just yet. Washington, D.C. and Baltimore. You're watching that Friday window where a brief wintry mix is possible. If the cold air undercuts fast enough, the I-95 corridor is always tricky with these setups. Moving to the South Dallas and Fort Worth, you are ground zero for the severe weather threat Wednesday, March 4th, and I really need you paying attention to local alerts that day. Oklahoma City and Tulsa. You're in that severe weather corridor too, with damaging winds and large hail being your primary threats Wednesday through Thursday. Little Rock and Fort Smith, the SPC has you specifically flagged in that slight risk area for Wednesday tornadoes. Damaging winds and large hail are all possible. Memphis and Nashville. You're looking at heavy rainfall rather than snow, but flooding is your concern. Multiple rounds of 1 to 2 inches adding up through the week could overflow some of those smaller creeks and streams. Here's the big picture science. The ENSO cycle is shifting from La Nina to neutral, and historically that cranks up severe weather frequency and intensity across the central U.S. in a big way. Gulf sea surface temperatures running well above average means the moisture fuel is exceptionally rich when the subtropical jet taps into that. It is like opening a fire hose straight into severe weather country. Wind chills of 20 to 30 below zero across the northern tier, combined with Gulf dew points rising into the 50s and 60s in the south. That thermodynamic contrast is the recipe for an explosive storm season. So, what do you actually do with all of this if you're in the Midwest or Great Lakes? Get the winter kit ready. Check the tire tread. And plan for commute impacts Sunday night through Tuesday morning. If you're in the Southern Plains or Lower Mississippi Valley, review your severe weather plan right now. Locate your safe room and flip your weather alerts on before Wednesday hits. If you're in a flood-prone area from Texas through the Ohio Valley, watch the river gauge forecast and be ready to act the moment your local NWS office issues a flood watch. March 2026 is not the month to be casual for storm systems. A potential late March blizzard signal, multiple severe weather outbreaks, and widespread flooding all packed into 1 month. Drop your city in the comments right now. Which area do you want a dedicated deep dive on next? I read every single one and I will get to yours. Stay safe, everyone.